Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi barakatuhu. Eid Mubarak. Um, May Allah Azza wa Jal accept all of our fast, all of our good deeds, all our acts of ibadah, our zakat, our fitr, and just everything in totality. And may Allah bless us with success in all of our good endeavors and allow us to elevate as Muslims within the ranks of the righteous, and to elevate as good men and women in society, and start to be the change that this society needs, the change that Islam actually brings, so that we could be a betterment for wherever we are. I mean, so now that Ramadan is over with, alhamdulillah, is just a little reminder, man, especially for us in colder regions where it's starting to warm up, you know. Stay on your pivot, man. People about to, be walking around, women in little clothes, men in little clothes, little shirts and stuff. People finna be having their cars cleaned up and waxed and jewelry on, smelling good. Men with their cologne, women with their perfumes and their hair done and nails. People about to start trying to be attractive. About to start trying to catch the eyes of people. So, a lot of, loud music in the cars, marijuana smoke in the air, people outside drinking, a lot of cookouts and barbecues and fighting and shooting, people hanging out. It's just time to be strong, man, and focus on being a good Muslim brother, a good Muslim sister. And, it's just that time, man, because Shaitan is loose. He's gonna be out there with a vengeance. He been locked up for 30 days, so he finna get back at it. And some of the people who he may have lost during the month of Ramadan, he's finna try to get you back, try to reel you back into your old ways. Like what I quoted, man. Once Shaitan see that you start to follow your desires, he step from up out of your shadow. He already got you. You're going to lead yourself astray and end up in a world that he wants you in. So, just try to stay focused, man, on your Ramadan principles. Try to fast, try to keep your nose in the book, and try to start studying, man. Try to read something, try to work on your Arabic, try to work on, whether it's just connecting the letters, whether it's speaking. Just work on something, man, and try to read your Quran more. Try to read you some hadiths more. Focus on your health, man. Get you some sun. Start to exercise. Start to do breathing techniques to help your lungs, your heart. Start to eat cleaner. A lot of fruits, a lot of vegetables. Start to stretch more. That'd be the people outside. But that's something that I have to reincorporate. And like people who have a discipline, whether it's a knuckle game or, a little taekwondo, some mixed martial, jiu-jitsu or something. Some of us know the importance of proper stretching. So start to get back into your stretching, man. Breathe some fresh air, man. Get outside, man. Sit on your porch. Breathe through your nose. You know what I mean? Start to do a lot of self-improvement. And start to do some things, as far as your self-improvement and try to get a lot of the excess weight off of us. Build a little muscle, man. You don't necessarily have to turn into no bodybuilder. Do you some pull-ups, some push-ups, some dips. Run a little, jog a little. Do some Tai Chi. Start to eat you some sea moss, man. Get you some sea moss to rebuild that cartilage. Do a parasite cleanse, man. And like I say, man, just try to avoid the social ills that's in society, man, especially what's coming prevalent amongst our people, man. I'm a person, man, who do a lot of analyzing, and I analyze people, and I look at everything. Like, I look at YouTube, I look at social media, and I watch the Masons, you know what I mean, and to see how they fighting, the blacks against the blacks, the white against the black ones, the Hebrew Israelites, and how they starting to fight and have different groups with different teachings, the splits of the Nation of Islam, the Moorish Americans, looking at all these old rappers who having all this beef and doing all these interviews all over stupid stuff, man. To watch the women go from a year ago, you can't take us to no Applebee's, and a whole list of, if a man try to take you on these dates, and if they trying to take you to the movies like this back in the day, they not worthy of your time, and now they talking about they need $1,000 deposit to date them. One woman saying, if you can't give your woman $10,000 a month, don't even try dating. And to watch them go from that to now, it's like, where the men at? Why the men not dating us? I seen an African American sister, man, talking about how she concerned for the women. She went to a singles event at a church, and it was 1,000 single women there. I think she said they was in Atlanta, and then just seeing the rhetoric where all the women, the good dudes did, we the bad guys, so now all the men starting to talk about they just finna start dogging women. That's what they want. That's what it take to get women. We just finna dog them, man. So like for the Muslim brothers, man, I just want to advise the Muslim brothers, man, try not to fall into that, because it go against Islam. And trust and believe, if you got a dog her out to keep her, chances are you probably not gonna have a good woman, man. You probably not gonna have no good relationship, bro. You know what I'm saying? If you have to treat her bad, then you trust and believe she's going to do things to bring bad treatment out of you. You're just not going to have a good relationship, man. So if you got to treat her bad to get her and keep her, like, why? You know what I mean? And just keep continuing to be a good person, and eventually you'll get a good woman, man. You just gotta put your trust in Allah. And like, even with some of the sisters, man, who don't really want mistreatment, and then they come across a guy that they really like, but he makes the options of mistreating her, because then these is the type of women that women continue to go for. As a Muslim, man, don't do it, man. Stay up out of there and all these little beef and social media beef. You could just see Shaitan just written. His Shaitan name is just written all over all of it. You know what I'm saying? Shaitan name is just written all over all of it, man. So, people and places, be aware of these corner stores and all these people hanging out, man, all this arguing, because it's finna warm up, man. It's warming up. People gonna have little clothes on. There's gonna be fighting. There's gonna be shooting. We done already had a couple of shootings today on the day of the Eid. Not with the Muslims, but some people who done got shot already, and some shootings and police everywhere. Shaitan out here, man. So anyway, focus on being better, man. Being better and having good ways, kind manners, even when you're dealing with rude people. Don't fight fire with fire. Don't be rude back, man. Fight fire with water. You know what I'm saying? And like I say, man, start to eat clean, man. Start to sit on your porch or take a walk. Go to the park, man. Absorb some sun. Start to eat a lot of fruits, a lot of vegetables. Start to juice. Drink clean water, herbal teas. Make you a lot of salads. And I got these right here to show people. Yeah, it's hemp hearts, but of course, it ain't nothing that get you high or anything like that. But I use these when I make salads. I put these in a blender and blend up like some cucumbers, a little purple onion, just for some seasoning. And then sometimes I add a little bit of vinegar or perhaps a little bit of pickle juice to give it that ranch, buttermilk type of a flavor. And I use these because they thicken it out and give it that consistency of a dressing. You know what I'm saying? Where I don't have to, use those dressings. I know what's in it and it be clean. So I make me a cucumber ranch dressing with these, man. You can add tomatoes and like a little, like agave or honey, and make you like for the people who like the French type dressing, the Western dressings. The tomato, or give it that red color. You know what I'm saying? So you can make you like some sweet dressing, or you can make you like a ranch, buttermilk ranch type dressing. Add a little garlic, fresh stuff, and you put this on your salads, man. Make your own dressing. That's what I use. Throw some pumpkin seeds in there to grind it up. So you know what I'm saying? To help thicken it out. Just start to eat healthier. Start to try to work out. Start stretching. Start, I ain't gonna necessarily use the word meditating because I don't want people to take it the wrong way, but decompress, sit and breathe, sit on the porch, breathe through your nose and breathe some fresh air. And, just act like it's Ramadan still. Stay away from certain conversations, certain music, and just work on yourself every day. Keep reading your Quran, start to read some hadiths. Just focus on being better, man. And don't get caught up in the directions and the ways that society is headed in. Because this ain't nothing but shaitan, man. It's nothing but shaitan. Especially us, man. And it's just time for some self-improvement, man. It's time for self-improvement. And whatever self-improvement for you look like. And alhamdulillah, man, like it amazes me some of the things that I learned from the dunya that was beneficial, but well, I mean, you can learn a lot from anything. It's just what you do with it. But like when we was younger, so many of the brothers, man, because we was in the gang culture, but so many of them had went to the joint, and so when they would come home from jail, man, and when they would lose track of who they are, who they was trying to get back to themselves, they used to call it bidding. So, and alhamdulillah, I never went, but we used to sit back and just let our hair grow, let our nails grow, take care of our nails. It was crazy, man, because we would really be soaking our hands in palm olive and, you know what I mean, just letting our hair grow out and, putting that sulfurate in our head where that cool air was hitting our scalp. But we would sit back and we would relax in our rooms or wherever we'd be back. Like we would just stay away from people until our nail and our hair got a certain length. But it was us taking a breather and refinding ourselves, reacclimating with who we really was. But that's what we used to call it, like bidding. I'm finna do a bit, but we just finna stay in the house and we finna stay away from everything. And, we finna get our push-ups back in. We finna get our sit-ups back in and get ourselves, start back eating clean before we come back out. Now we got our better mindset. We just had to take a step back from all the ignorance, man. Because when you out there in those day and times, man, when, we was hustling and everybody running up the cars and, we was hustling outside. And you just in this environment with all these people with guns and, they smoking, they drinking, a lot of gambling and dice games and women everywhere, money everywhere. You know what I'm saying? A whole block and, Then you having shootouts. One group come shoot up the block, then you go shoot up they block. You have to step back, man, and find who you are. So just learning how, from that dunya, how to go take a step back and sit back and recenter myself. And although some of us was Muslim, it was only one person who had a Quran, and he used to be like, man, I need to go find myself, man. I need to go dig it back into my Quran and find myself. So that was something that we added once we started having Qurans. Go sit back. We ain't finna come outside for 2 weeks, a month, read our Quran. So I'm just saying, man, whatever it take for you to keep your Ramadan flow going, and just refocus on, hopefully you learned a lot about your nafs this Ramadan, and your strengths and your weaknesses, and what your health looking like, the environments you around, who your real friends, who ain't, who in a relationship for you, who ain't, what family members gonna stay strong, who gonna be down with you, what Muslims really trying to dean and grow and have some Islamic education, and then ones who don't want to change. Just learning your circle, man. And like I say, man, I'm stressing health because I always try to stress the health a little bit, but like last night I was sitting on the porch because it done warmed up. So I'm sitting on the porch after work, absorbing the fresh air, doing my takbirs, right? And across the street is this girl who got a pit bull and another dog, but she has a fence. But it was this young guy, right? He had a little t-shirt, you know what I'm saying? Little slim built guy, little muscle build on him. He looked it healthy. And I guess he not familiar with this block, but once he heard the dogs barking and run off the porch, I guess he couldn't see the fence. So he goes to take off running. So, you have a house, a driveway, a house, a driveway, and another house. Dude was only able to run the distance of one house at full speed. That his full speed, man, it looked like he was running with boots on. But of course he did have on some of them tight pants, so maybe that stopped his flow. But when he took off running, because he heard the dog barking and seen him come off the porch, and it was dark, so he couldn't see the fence, and he take off running. And I mean, man, that little bit of run from one house, just the distance of a house, had him bent over. Cause I had to yell, I just yelled because it was right in front of my house, but he was kind of, he was in the street, and I told him, man, it's a fence, they can't get out of that fence, and he stopped and was just like, but he was young, but he looked it healthy, and it just made me think. I was like, dang, you know what I'm saying? I'm an old head, and I could have did better than that. I could at least got 3-4 houses. You know what I'm saying? I'd put it this way: if it wasn't no fence, he would have got bit. The dogs would have caught him. But if you looked at him, you would have, he looked like he was, like he had some wind about himself, man. And like people who understand them disciplines, man, who box a little bit or, know some karate, some mixed martial arts, they know about stepping in there. People be looking, physical. You get in the ring or you throw the gloves on with somebody and they looking real good, and you could just bob them up out of their whole little fight style because they get tired. You ain't even really got to throw no punches. Just walk them and make them come up out their frame, and once they get tired, you just break them off. So sometimes people be looking good and physically fit, but they internal just be out of there, man. So, work on that, man. It's just time for us to just be better people, man. Healthier, stronger, mind sharper, vision becoming clearer. It's just time for us to get better, man. As a Muslim ummah, start saving our money. Stop being consumers all the time and splurgers. Start saving some money and using our money, for good, man. Spending in the cause of Allah. start becoming readers again. You know what I mean? Really just digging in the books and really finishing them and completing them. You know, just for like the people, you know. People seen when I started this book. I finished this book because like I do, I write down in my books, right? Although it's a short book. So I finished this book right here. I want to say the 11th. Yeah. So I finished this on the 23rd of Ramadan, which was the 11th. And that's when I started this book, on the 12th. And then I finished this book on the 29th, the 18th. You see? So, in 6 days. So, start reading your books, man. Start finishing them. Start absorbing them. And not only did I finish the books, I have things, and there's ayahs, there's hadith. I went and researched the hadith out of real books. You know what I'm saying? Looking at some of the Quran ayahs that they use for dalil, and then pull up the Quran ayat and look at the tafsirs of them. So doing the supplement things along with finishing those books. So, you know, finish your books, man. It's just time for self-improvement, man, all around the board, man. Health, everything. You know, I seen a Muslim a Muslim was saying how, no, they wasn't Muslim, but it was a person saying they was looking at their timeline and they seen all these young people, man, that had cancer in their 20s. And I seen a video of a young dude who had a certain stage, a level of cancer, and is prostrate. And he changed his diet and everything. He ended up having to heal himself. You know, and just start becoming more mentally aware, more focused, man. You know, for people who have a little area, just like me, I have some area outside. Like people who was with me last year, and I'll go outside, like I'm finna start planting now. You know, I grow my own tomatoes, okra, my own mint, 2 different kinds, the spearmint and peppermint. You know, I dehydrate it and make my own mint teas, watermelons, different cucumbers, the lemon cucumbers, bell peppers, even the cayenne peppers, you know, your hot peppers. Start trying to grow your own food, man. You know, just anything you can. Just do what you can, man. It's just time for self-improvement, man. So anyway, man, I got to get ready to get up out of here, man. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.